You too must have some rest, Edith. You didn't close your eyes last night. Nor you, Margot. I slept, Father. Wasn't that funny? I knew it was the last night in my own bed, and yet I slept soundly. I'm glad, Anne. Now you'll be able to help me straighten things in here. To Mrs. Frank and Margot. Come with me. You and Margot rest in this room for the time being. He picks up their clothes, starting for the room on the right. You're sure? I could help, and Anne hasn't had her milk. I'll give it to her. To Anne and Peter. Anne, Peter, it's best that you take off your shoes now, before you forget. He leads the way to the room, followed by Margot. You're sure you're not tired, Anne? I feel fine. I'm going to help Father. Peter, I'm glad you are to be with us. Yes, Mrs. Frank. Mrs. Frank goes to join Mr. Frank and Margot. During the following scene, Mr. Frank helps Margot and Mrs. Frank to hang up their clothes. Then he persuades them both to lie down and rest. The Von Dons in their room above settle themselves. In the main room, Anne and Peter remove their shoes. Peter takes his cat out of the carrier. What's your cat's name? Moushy. Moushy! 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 She picks up the cat, walking away with it. To Peter. I love cats. I have one, a darling little cat, but they made me leave her behind. I left some food and a note for the neighbors to take care of her. I'm going to miss her terribly. What is yours? A him or a her? He's a Tom. He doesn't like strangers. He takes the cat from her, putting it back in its carrier. Then I'll have to stop being a stranger, won't I? Is he fixed? Huh? Did you have him fixed? No. Oh, you ought to have him fixed, to keep him from, fighting. Where did you go to school? Jewish secondary. But that's where Margot and I go. I never saw you around. I used to see you, sometimes. You did? In the schoolyard. You were always in the middle of a bunch of kids. He takes a penknife from his pocket. Why didn't you ever come over? I'm sort of a lone wolf. He starts to rip off his Star of David. What are you doing? Taking it off? But you can't do that. They'll arrest you if you go out without your star. He tosses his knife on the table. Who's going out? Why, of course, you're right. Of course we don't need them anymore. She picks up his knife and starts to take her star off. I wonder what our friends will think when we don't show up today. I didn't have any dates with anyone. Oh, I did. I had a date with Yopi to go and play ping pong at her house. Do you know Yopi Duval? No. Yopi's my best friend. I wonder what she'll think when she telephones and there's no answer. Probably she'll go over to the house. I wonder what she'll think. We left everything as if we'd suddenly been called away. Breakfast dishes in the sink, beds not made. As she pulls off her star, the cloth underneath shows clearly the color and form of the star. Look, it's still there. Peter goes over to the stove with his star. What are you going to do with yours? Burn it. She starts to throw hers in and cannot. It's funny. I can't throw mine away. I don't know why. You can't throw? Something they branded you with? That they made you wear so they could spit on you? I know. But after all, it is the Star of David, isn't it? In the bedroom, right, Margot and Mrs. Frank are lying down. Mr. Frank starts quietly out. Maybe it's different for a girl. Mr. Frank comes into the main room. Forgive me, Peter. Now let me see. We must find a bed for your cat. He goes to a cupboard. I'm glad you brought your cat. Anne was feeling so badly about hers. Getting a used small washtub. Here we are. Will it be comfortable in that? Gathering up his things. Thanks. Opening the door of the room on the left. And here is your room, but I warn you, Peter, you can't grow any more, not an inch, or you'll have to sleep with your feet out of the skylight. Are you hungry? No. We have some bread and butter. No, thank you. You can have it for luncheon then, and tonight we will have a real supper, our first supper together. Thanks. He goes into his room. During the following scene, he arranges his possessions in his new room. That's a nice boy, Peter. He's awfully shy, isn't he? You'll like him, I know. I certainly hope so, since he's the only boy I'm likely to see for months and months. Mr. Frank sits down, taking off his shoes. Annalay, there's a box there. Will you open it? He indicates a carton on the couch. Anne brings it to the center table. In the street below, there is a sound of children playing. as she opens the carton. You know the way I'm going to think of it here? I'm going to think of it as a boarding house. A very peculiar summer boarding house. Like the one that she breaks off as she pulls out some photographs. Father, my movie stars! I was wondering where they were. I was looking for them this morning. And Queen Wilhelmina! How wonderful! There's something more. Go on, look further. He goes over to the sink, pouring a glass of milk from a thermos bottle. Pulling out a pasteboard-bound book. A diary! She throws her arms around her father. I've never had a diary, and I've always longed for one. She looks around the room. Pencil, 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 pencil. She starts down the stairs. I'm going down to the office to get a pencil. Anne, no! He goes after her, catching her by the arm and pulling her back. But there's no one in the building now. It doesn't matter. I don't want you ever to go beyond that door. Never? Not even at nighttime, when everyone is gone? Or on Sundays? Can I go down to listen to the radio? Never. I'm sorry. Anneke, it isn't safe. No, you must never go beyond that door. For the first time, Anne realizes what going into hiding means. I see. It'll be hard, I know, but always remember this, Anneke. There are no walls, there are no bolts, no locks that anyone can put on your mind. Meep will bring us books. We will read history, poetry, mythology. He gives her the glass of milk. Here's your milk. With his arm about her, they go over to the couch, sitting down side by side. As a matter of fact, between us, Anne, being here has certain advantages for you. For instance, you remember the battle you had with your mother the other day on the subject of overshoes? You said you'd rather die than wear overshoes, but in the end you had to wear them. Well now, you see, for as long as we are here, you will never have to wear overshoes. Isn't that good? And the coat that you inherited from Margot, you won't have to wear that anymore. And the piano, you won't have to practice on the piano. I tell you, this is going to be a fine life for you. Anne's panic is gone. Peter appears in the doorway of his room with a saucer in his hand. He is carrying his cat. I thought I'd better get some water for Mousy before... Of course. As he starts toward the sink, the carillon begins to chime the hour of 8. He tiptoes to the window at the back and looks down at the street below. He turns to Peter, indicating in pantomime that it is too late. Peter starts back for his room. He steps on a creaking board. The three of them are frozen for a minute in fear. As Peter starts away again, Anne tiptoes over to him and pours some of the milk from her glass into the saucer for the cat. Peter squats on the floor, putting the milk before the cat. Mr. Frank gives Anne his fountain pen and then goes into the room at the right. For a second, Anne watches the cat. Then she goes over to the center table and opens her diary. In the room at the right, Mrs. Frank has sat up quickly at the sound of the carillon. Mr. Frank comes in and sits down beside her on the settee, his arm comfortingly around her. Upstairs in the attic room, Mr. and Mrs. Von Don have hung their clothes in the closet and are now seated on the iron bed. Mrs. Von Don leans back exhausted. Mr. Von Don fans her with a newspaper. Anne starts to write in her diary. The lights dim out. The curtain falls. In the darkness, Anne's voice comes to us again, faintly at first, and then with growing strength. I expect I should be describing what it feels like to go into hiding, but I really don't know yet myself. I only know it's funny never to be able to go outdoors, never to breathe fresh air, never to run and shout and jump. It's the silence in the nights that frightens me most. Every time I hear a creak in the house, or a step on the street outside, I'm sure they're coming for us. The days aren't so bad. At least we know that Meep and Mr. Kraler are down there below us in the office. Our protectors, we call them. I asked Father what would happen to them if the Nazis found out they were hiding us. Pim said that they would suffer the same fate that we would. Imagine. They know this, and yet, when they come up here, they're always cheerful and gay as if there were nothing in the world to bother them. Friday, the 21st of August, 1942. Today I'm going to tell you our general news. Mother is unbearable. She insists on treating me like a baby, which I loathe. Otherwise, things are going better. The weather is... Anne's voice is fading out. The curtain rises on the scene. Scene 3. It is a little after 6 o'clock in the evening, 2 months later. Margot is in the bedroom at the right, studying. Mr. Von Don is lying down in the attic room above. The rest of the family is in the main room. Anne and Peter sit opposite each other at the center table, where they have been doing their lessons. Mrs. Frank is on the couch. Mrs. Von Don is seated with her fur coat, on which she has been sewing, in her lap. None of them are wearing their shoes. Their eyes are on Mr. Frank, waiting for him to give them the signal which will release them from their day-long quiet. Mr. Frank, his shoes in his hands, stands looking down out of the window at the back, watching to be sure that all of the workmen have left the building below. After a few seconds of motionless silence, Mr. Frank turns from the window. Quietly to the group. It's safe now. The last workman has left. There is an immediate stir of relief. Anne's pent-up energy explodes. Whee! Anne! I'm first for the WC. She hurries off to the bathroom. Mrs. Frank puts on her shoes and starts up to the sink to prepare supper. Anne sneaks Peter's shoes from under the table and hides them behind her back. Mr. Frank goes into Margot's room. To Margot. 6 o'clock. School's over. Margot gets up, stretching. Mr. Frank sits down to put on his shoes. In the main room, Peter tries to find his. Have you seen my shoes? Your shoes? You've taken them, haven't you? I don't know what you're talking about. You're going to be sorry. Am I? Peter goes after her. Anne, with his shoes in her hand, runs from him, dodging behind her mother. Anne, dear. Wait till I get you. I'm waiting. Peter makes a lunge for her. They both fall to the floor. Peter pins her down, wrestling with her to get the shoes. Don't, Peter, stop it. Ouch! Anne, Peter. Suddenly Peter becomes self-conscious. He grabs his shoes roughly and starts for his room. Peter, where are you going? Come dance with me. I tell you I don't know how. I'll teach you. I'm going to give Moushy his dinner. Can I watch? He doesn't like people around while he eats. Peter, please. No! He goes into his room. Anne slams his door after him. Anne, dear, I think you shouldn't play like that with Peter. It's not dignified. Who cares if it's dignified? I don't want to be dignified. Mr. Frank and Margot come from the room on the right. Margot goes to help her mother. Mr. Frank starts for the center table to correct Margot's school papers. To Anne. You complain that I don't treat you like a grown-up, but when I do, you resent it. I only want some fun, someone to laugh and clown with. After you've sat still all day and hardly moved, you've got to have some fun. I don't know what's the matter with that boy. He isn't used to girls. Give him a little time. Time? Isn't 2 months time? I could cry. Catching hold of Margot. Come on, Margot, dance with me. Come on, please. I have to help with supper. You know we're going to forget how to dance. When we get out, we won't remember a thing. She starts to sing and dance by herself. Mr. Frank takes her in his arms, waltzing with her. Mrs. Von Don comes in from the bathroom. Next, she looks around as she starts putting on her shoes. Where's Peter? As they are dancing. Where would he be? He hasn't finished his lessons, has he? His father will kill him if he catches him in there with that cat, and his work not done. Mr. Frank and Anne finish their dance. They bow to each other with extravagant formality. Anne, get him out of there, will you? At Peter's door. Peter! Peter! Opening the door a crack. What is it? Your mother says to come out. I'm giving Moushy his dinner. You know what your father says. She sits on the couch, sewing on the lining of her fur coat. For heaven's sake, I haven't even looked at him since lunch. I'm just telling you, that's all. I'll feed him. I don't want you in there. Peter! Then give him his dinner and come right out, you hear? He comes back to the table. Anne shuts the door of Peter's room after her and disappears behind the curtain covering his closet. To Peter. Now is that any way to talk to your little girlfriend? Mother, for heaven's sake, will you please stop saying that? Look at him blush. Look at him. Please, I'm not. Anyway, let me alone, will you?